I think he's terrible. He's a communist. The last thing we need is a communist. And I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with him, watching him, because he has to come right to this building to get his money. I think the people of New York are crazy. If they go this route, I think they're crazy. We will have a communist for the first time, really, a pure, true communist.
President Trump on the south lawn of the White House earlier today, preparing to board Marine One, the helicopter that would take him to Air Force One at Joint Base Andrews, for his flight down to Okeechobee, Florida, where they've got the alligator Alcatraz that was set up faster than the government set up anything since World War II. Quite remarkable. It has about 5,000 illegal aliens. The Democrats want to hand their daughters over to them because of the many mental issues they have. God, they have a lot of mental issues, don't they? Crazy story out of the Gallup polling people as well. Gallup poll. National pride. But wait, didn't Pride Month just end? It's not national pride, though, that they're proud of. It's other things altogether. National pride is declining in America, even as Pride Month is just ending, and it's splitting by party lines. New Gallup polling shows. Only 36% of Democrats say that they are proud to be American. About 1/3, that means about 2/3, will not say that they're proud to be Americans.
And let me tell you something. For the first time in my adult life, I am proud of my country.
Ah, yes, Big Mike. Big Mike, that was way back when Big Mike, what were they, burning the American? Oh, that's because they elected her husband, and he's a communist, and he hates America. Only 36% of Democrats say that they are either extremely proud or very proud to be American, according to a brand new Gallup poll reflecting a dramatic decline in national pride that is also clear among young people. That's because the left has secured information dominance on college campuses and, of course, in high school and grammar school curricula, the plural of curriculum, and they're raising people to hate the United States of America and to hate Jewish people and white people and American people and capitalism and all that other stuff. The findings are a stark illustration. The Associated Press types out of Washington. The findings are a stark illustration of how many, but not all, Americans have felt less of a sense of pride in their country over the past decade. See, they're trying to hang it on Trump, I think, here is probably what's going on here. The split between Democrats and Republicans at 56%. That is to say that a great many Republicans are proud to be Americans, extremely proud or very proud to be Americans, and then 56% fewer Democrats say that they're either extremely proud or very proud to be Americans. Womp, womp, womp. That includes all 4 years of Republican President Donald Trump's first term. The split between the Democrats and Republicans, 56% point at the widest gap, because Gallup has been taking the same poll for a long time. Widest gap we've seen since 2001. Gee, what happened then? Oh, that's when George W. Bush won the election in Florida, and the Democrats lied and dangling chads and all that stuff, and it went to the Supreme Court, and they hoped to steal it there, but they failed. Only about 4 in 10 U.S. adults who are part of Generation Z, Gen Z, which is defined as those born between 1997 and 2012, expressed only 4 in 10 expressed a high level of pride being American, the Gallup survey shows. Amazing stuff. Compared with about 6 in 10 millennials, those born between 1980 and 1996, at least 7 in 10 U.S. adults in older generations are proud to be Americans. But the Democrat Party teaches the opposite of pride. The opposite of pride. And Democrats, very, very unhappy to be Americans. Gen Z, very unhappy to be Americans. And the Associated Press, not knowing what to do about all this because they're Democrats too. That's the thing about them. Womp, womp, womp. Other recent polling also shows Democrats and independents are less likely than Republicans to say that expressing patriotism is important. This is 4th of July week we're coming into, just by the way. Well, I guess we're well into it since it's Tuesday, and the 4th of July is Friday. Say it's important to feel a sense of pride in their national leaders. See, that's the thing about them. Nearly 9 in 10 Republicans in a 2024 poll said they believe patriotism has a positive impact on the United States, with Democrats more divided. 45% said patriotism had a positive impact on the country. 37% of Democrats said patriotism was a negative and had a negative effect on the country. More than a third of Democrats say patriotism is negative for the country. And then they firebombed some old Jewish people and celebrated because the Democrat Party is the Nazi party of the 21st century. Isn't that amazing? While they go around calling everybody else Nazis, they're firebombing, the Jewish governor in Pennsylvania, firebombed the governor's mansion. And that's okay because Democrats. Yeah, and the 82-year-old woman that died yesterday in Boulder, Colorado, who spent literally a month in the hospital after being set on fire by an Egyptian who was here illegally on an expired visa because of Joe Biden and the Democrats and the hatred that the Democrat Party teaches. It is their central ethic, hatred of Jewish people and of others. And I talked about this a little while ago. The illegal alien Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood-loving terrorists that set on fire an 88-year-old Holocaust survivor and set on fire an 82-year-old woman named Karen who died yesterday after a month of suffering in a hospital. And he's here with his 5 children and his wife. And it was suggested after the terrorist attack that the family be expelled from the country, be deported. But a Joe Biden-appointed judge named Gordon Gallagher in Colorado said, oh, no, you can't deport his family. He's going to need the love and support of his terrorist-loving family, his 5 children, and his B-word wife, and they need to stay because Joe Biden-appointed judge Gordon Gallagher said, no, the terrorist family must stay. Aren't they amazing? Yes, they are. Now let's get back to the communists in New York. And President Trump was talking about the communists in New York today. This guy and you know what? The Democrats, I saw this morning that they still have not declared the genocidal, hate cult, Islamist, communist. They still haven't declared him to be the winner of the Democratic primary in the city of New York, because they can't do anything in a first world fashion anymore, can they? No, they can't. Just amazing. And this Mamaduke over here, I got to say, I do not like this guy. He is Mamdani, the Islamists who is, he was born in Uganda. He lived a few years in South Africa as a kid. His mother is a filmmaker with Hollywood ties and Bollywood ties. His father is a leftist who is a college professor and academic. And Zohran Mamdani, I was playing with this yesterday. I looked at his name and I had like a little dyslexic moment or something. And I switched up the letters in his last name, Mamdani, Mamdani. And I had a little dyslexia moment, and I switched the second M with the D, right? And when you do that, his name is Mad Manny, He's Madman. And I split it up, M-A-D space, M-A-N space, I, the letter I. So he's Madman I if you mix up the letters just a little bit. Just swap the M and the D, the second M and the only D. Swap them and he's Madman, right? Because Mamdani is almost Mad Manny. And Zoran and the Democrats, they all want to date him. Again, they think, and I've spoken to perfectly intelligent women who say, oh, he's very handsome and he's very well spoken. He looks like the average bus driver. Honestly, I don't understand what's going on in this country. We've lost our minds. And women are hot. It's like, Luigi Mangione. Oh, look at his abs. So the only thing he's ever done is walked up behind a man and gunned him down for nothing on the sidewalks of New York. That shouldn't make him hot. But for Democrats and Democrat women in particular, and all their men are gay, they've decided that he's hot too. Luigi Mangione. But this guy, Zoran Mamdani, I'm going to call him Madman from now on, right? Mad Manny. Because he is a communist. President Trump called him a communist yesterday. President Trump called him a communist today. And where do we go? I have to go back to the beginning, don't I? I'm going to go to soundbite number one. Here's Zoran Mamdani, Mad Manny, in 2021. And this is a video that has been posted of him, and he was at an event speaking to people. 2021. That's 4 years ago now, because it's 2025 now. See how I did the math on that? Better than a Democrat. And he's speaking to, fellow travelers.
This entire project, it's not simply to raise class consciousness, but to win socialism. And obviously raising class consciousness is a critical part of that. We have to continue to elect more socialists, and we have to ensure that we are unapologetic about our socialism.
Yes, we have to elect more socialists. Now, Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, also known as Lenin, Vladimir Lenin, the Soviet Bolshevik communist revolutionary, famously said, the goal of socialism is communism. And I can tell you that communists murdered 100 million people in the 20th century. We're 25 years into the 21st century. They're back. And, socialism is Marxism. Marxism is race, class, and gender in all things. He wants to tax white people in New York. He said it out loud. Now, let's go to Mamdani again from 2021.
There are also other issues that we firmly believe in, whether it's BDS, right, or whether it's the end goal of seizing the means of production, where we do not have the same level of support at this very moment.
Yeah, the socialists, he wants to tax the white people in New York City because he says they got all the money. Well, they get up early and go to work and work hard and, don't shoot people just for openers. And he wants billionaires to not exist. So we got race, we got class, and he wants the taxpayers to fund gender reassignment surgery at taxpayer expense, of course, because race, class, and gender. And also he wants to legalize prostitution, legalize using heroin in New York City, and arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he comes to New York. The guy's a complete commie swine. And the Democrats voted. And again, they can't count the votes. They're still counting the votes in New York. Their boy Stalin said it's not the votes that count, it's who counts the votes. Right? Wah, wah, wah. It can be easy to brush off that tight feeling in your chest, maybe a flutter in your heart or something, shortness of breath. Could be nothing, right? Pay no attention at all. But what if it's not? Now, I'm not one to run to the doctor every time, something feels a little funny, but I do care about staying ahead of my health. It's a good idea, especially heart health. And thanks to Cardia Mobile for sending me their Cardia Mobile 6L, for my honest opinion, and it's really quite extraordinary. It's about the size of a Band-Aid. You can put it in your travel luggage. The device is quite impressive. It's the most advanced personal EKG that you can buy, FDA cleared to detect atrial fibrillation, AFib, one of the leading causes of stroke, as you're doubtless aware. It's more accurate than those single lead wearables that monitor your heart, and it costs just a fraction of what a smartwatch costs. Now, whether you're at home, you're by yourself, you're traveling, you're at work, you're between doctor's visits, look, it gives you peace of mind, and it might even save your life. Right now, for a limited time, for my listeners, that's you, you're going to get 10% off. All you have to do is go to cardiamobile.com. Correction, cardia.com, KARDIA.com. Or you can go to Amazon and use the code 10-6L plant. That's the number 10, then 6L, that's the name of the device, PLANTE. Cardia Mobile 6L, sponsored by AliveCore. Yes, sir. I've got more of Zohran Mamdani. They're still counting the votes in New York because they are the third world. We're all going to be living in trees by the time they're done. Wait, I've got more coming up. And is he a commie or is he not? I've got a commie expert to tell you. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. Let's go back to the telephones, Michael. Let's go. Let's go to Glenda, listening on the WMAL app and calling from beautiful Rapid City, South Dakota. Glenda, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris, or afternoon, or whatever it is out in D.C. Great hearing your voice every morning. It makes our day. You were talking about that Mamdani guy, or whatever his last name is, from New York that's running for the mayor.
Mamdani,
Do you ever think of Zoltar, the fortune teller machine? That's what I think his first name sounds like, Zoltar.
Zoltar, he is a fortune-telling machine, too. That's great.
Yes. He's perfect. And the minute I heard his first name and they were pronouncing it, I said, Zoltar. Is it Zoltar? Is it? Because we have one of those out at Wall Drug, about 50 miles from Rapid City.
That's
and
fun.
there's a Zoltar. And I can't help but stop and just laugh at that every time I see it because it calls you out in the hall. It goes, Zoltar is here. We are going to read your fortune. So I just thought I'd bring that up because I know I love what you're doing with his last name, but the first name, it's got to be Zoltar.
Honestly, and it's close enough. And I think there's a Zoltan, isn't there? We got Zohran on this guy. He's Zohran, and not to be confused with don't mess with the Zohan, which is pretty close. And Glenda and I, we know each other.
We do.
Yes, we do.
We do. We'll see each other in the land of ice and snow and volcanoes.
Is that good? We know each other from sea cruises, Glenda and her husband, and they have a great and fascinating background, a wonderful background. And I'm glad you called in. And, yeah, you're right about Zoltan and Zoldan and Madman Donnie. You bet. That's right. I know Glenda and her husband. Glenda the Good Witch, of course. And they're great. Sea Cruises of years gone by, and said that joining us in Iceland this year, coming up pretty soon, actually, this month. And she's great, and her husband's great. They're and they have stories to tell. Let me tell you. I don't give away stuff, but good stuff. Now let's get back because we're talking about this communist who's a Democrat, perfectly mainstream Democrat in New York City, who's still waiting to find out whether he won the election, which he obviously won in a practical landslide over Gropey McGropeface Cuomo, who killer of retired ladies and during the Wuhan Red Death, and then he groped every woman that walked by. And the Democrats are like, what's the point of having political power if you can't grope every woman that walks by? It's a Democrat thing. We've got that going for us. But this guy, Zohran Mamdani, again, swap the M and the D, and it's Madmani. So the madman crossed the water here. And he was on Face the Meet the Press, day before yesterday. And Kristen Welker is getting all the credit in the world. I can't believe how much credit she's getting for asking a follow-up question when he didn't answer any questions. an answer like, are you a communist? And he gives some stupid non-answer. And, well, you didn't answer the question. Are you a communist? And then as he didn't answer because these communists lie about everything. They don't answer anything. No straight answers. But Zoran Mamdani.
Your plan is to shift the tax burden to richer and whiter neighborhoods. Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
Because he's a racist.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed.
And yet, by
Driven
invoking race, do you run the risk of potentially alienating key constituents?
I think I'm just naming things as they are.
I think I'm just naming things. And the Democrats, they woo and they coo and they want to date him. And it's amazing. White neighbor, no, I'm not. It's not. Of course, it's entirely about race because you're a communist racist. And all communists are racist, by the way. And they always pit races against one another. And the Democrat Party does that and have been doing that for a long time here in the United States because they've been closet commies. Now they're out of the closet transgenders. All of them. I think all registered Democrats are transgender, aren't they? And they shouldn't be allowed to fly on commercial airliners, and they shouldn't be allowed to own firearms. Registered Democrats. Isn't that amazing? And Zoran, he was asked a couple of questions. Are you a communist? Are you a capitalist? Is she your sister? Is she your daughter? What about billionaires?
Are you a communist?
No, I am not.
Do you like capitalism?
No.
Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires.
Well, and he smiles and kind of chuckles, and the news media says they want to take a hot tub with him and get some hot oil, and you know what happens next. The Democrat Party is the most corrupt, and look, I've been saying for years, the media is the most corrupt institution in America, and they are. And they're part of the Democratic Party. That's part of the information dominance secured by the left in this country. We had to battle the communists in the 20th century while they murdered literally 100 million people and possibly more. 50 million to 75 million people murdered by the communists in China alone, their own people. The Soviet communists spreading the violence of communism to North Korea and the Korean War, to North Vietnam and the Vietnam War. They spread their war and their violence and their communism to Africa and to Central America and other parts of Latin America. They murdered more people than any gang of murderers in the history of the world. Bernie Sanders honeymooned in the Soviet Union. They smile and they chuckle, and he's got food stuck between his teeth and all this stuff. But no, are you a communist? No. Are you a capitalist? No. Should billionaires exist? No. Oh, okay. Now I understand. Now, President Trump called him a communist yesterday. President Trump called him a communist today. President Trump is right. And communist is a dirty word. It's not like, oh, my daughter is dating a communist. Okay. Maybe found in a shallow grave before all is said and done, but pay no attention to that. And then this wonderful, wonderful woman who has been on the show. She called into the show. It's been quite a while. Xi Van Fleet fled Communist China, survived the Cultural Revolution under Chairman Mao, the number one murderer in the history of the world. Joseph Stalin, the number two murderer in the history of the world. And the head of the Socialist Workers' Party in Germany, Adolf Hitler, possibly the third most prolific murderer in the history of the world. We had to fight them all in the 20th century. And now they're here. And their name is the Democratic Party. That's no joke. From academia, which they targeted decades ago for takeover, and they have effectively secured academia for the communist left. But let's go to Xi Van Fleet, because she is just a wonderful woman, a brave woman, a strong, sturdy, articulate woman. Is it articulate? Is it racist to say articulate, or is that like just with Barack Obama? I'm not sure. Xi Van Fleet, wonderful woman, just great. And I actually met her at least once, but only briefly. We're not old pals, but I'm a big admirer of hers. She tells the truth about communism, and she knows it when she sees it. And Xi Van Fleet was asked about the Democrat Party's new hero in New York City, who is communist. And he still hasn't been declared the winner of their primary election in New York City because everything must be corrupted. And G. Van Fleet knows that. Here's G. Van Fleet talking about Mamdani.
I want people to know he is more than just the typical woke Marxist that focus on identity politics, DEI, and oppressor and press narrative. He is a full-fledged communist.
And gosh, why would G. Van Fleet know anything about this guy being a full-fledged communist? Well, because she knows everything about it, and she should be listened to. G. Van Fleet.
I don't know whether the New York voters understand what it means. That seize means of production. That means abolish private property. That means the state will take over businesses, capital, land, and the resources. And that's the place I came from.
And that's the place I came from. And she escaped. And she will tell you that she escaped because, you know, communists, they run countries like Cuba, where the voluntary departure of one of their captives, one of their prisoners, is referred to as an escape. The communists run countries that are prisons because they are slave drivers. They are kidnappers. They are the most murderous gang of brigands, literally, in the history of the world. Right? And G. Van Fleet, the headline from Fox News, survivor of China's Cultural Revolution, calls New York City's Zohran Mamdani a full-fledged communist. Survivor of Mao's Cultural Revolution, G. Van Fleet issues a warning to Americans about New York City's Democratic Socialist candidate. You know, Bernie Sanders calls himself a Democratic Socialist, too. They're communists, make no mistake. You know what they call literally every year more than 1 million abortions, including guaranteed every year about 40% of the black babies that will never be born in the United States. And then they call what's going on in Gaza a genocide. More than 1 million babies aborted every year. And you know what they call that? Choice. They call that choice. Choice is deciding whether you want the turkey sandwich or the roast beef sandwich. But for Democrats, it's 1 million dead per year. That's just the babies. They also shoot and kill about 20,000 people a year, the Democrats do in the United States, but never mind that. G. Van Fleet.
I shopped in the government-owned grocery store. And what it is like? Long line, ration, and empty shelf. And I lived in a government-granted housing. My family of 5 had 1.5 room, and we were lucky because we share bathroom with 4 other families. Others, they have an outhouse.
Communism and government-owned grocery stores. This is what Mamdani is proposing for New York City. Government-owned, government-run. And he said he's come up with a great innovation that the government-run grocery stores, one in each borough of New York City, the 5 boroughs, he said they'd buy wholesale. Wow. Why didn't the Romans think of that thousands of years ago? Oh, wait, they did. Never mind that. And again, G. Van Fleet explaining, because when you leave a communist country voluntarily, it's called an escape.
I escaped that world. I came here for freedom. And if America falls, all of us have no place to go. New Yorkers, you have to wake up.
If America falls, we will have no place to go. We are the life raft for planet Earth, for freedom-loving people everywhere. The struggle, the battle for freedom has been ongoing, certainly since Roman times and really before. You know, the Greeks were fighting the Persians in the Mediterranean Sea thousands of years ago. And you know what it was about? It was about freedom. It was about liberty. It was about the freedom to choose. The great Greeks, the great Romans. And G. Van Fleet made it to the United States, and she has been grateful and thanking us, one of the happiest Americans you're going to find anywhere. And she knows what's going on in New York. We all need to sound the alarm. And this is today's Democrat Party. And look at the news media. They want to give them a tongue bath every day. The Democrat Party. G. Van Fleet does not.
I'm so glad President Trump see through it and call him a communist. He is a communist.
Honestly, this is truly extreme. The things he wants to do. Again, legalize prostitution. Oh, that's good for your daughters. Legalize heroin use as a recreational drug. Oh, that's good for your sons. We're going to have the government control housing, the government run grocery stores, defund the police, shut down the prisons and free all of the criminals, sanctuary city for illegal aliens in the country, city of New York, which it already is, making everything more dangerous for everybody. And G. Van Fleet sums up the difference between capitalism and communism very deftly.
I always tell people, capitalism can't guarantee that everyone will be wealthy, but communism can guarantee that we are all poor.
That is a fact. You know, it's you're equal, poor, impoverished, bankrupt, but equal, because that's what communism does. And then they enslave everyone and destroy everything and steal everything that is worth stealing. And you do that by fundamentally transforming the United States of America, teaching your children to speak some other language, because the greatest, most successful, most prosperous, and freest country on the planet Earth must be destroyed. The left has been trying to destroy us since the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917 in St. Petersburg, where I've been a number of times, and it's not better, I can assure you. There's nothing better about it. The commies, the Democrats, aren't they amazing? Man, oh man. Yes, sir. So much I still have to get to that I haven't. The Washington Post has a big story today. Can the abundance movement save the Democrats? And it's a full page, almost a full page story in the Washington Post. Page 8 of the A-sectional. Some of them are A-sectional, some of them are metro-sectional. And they go on and on. I hope to get to this more, but they're planning on branding the word abundance and attaching it to the Democrat Party while they steal everything you've ever worked for. And they got Rahm Emanuel out here, my old high school classmate, and even he's making fun of it. But they've got they're planning on rolling out, they call it a movement. It's the abundance movement. And the Democrats say, oh, well, we're about abundance. And it's the opposite of the truth. It's not only not true, it is the diametric opposite of the truth. The Democrat Party is not democratic. They are the left, and they are here to destroy the world. And as G. Van Fleet said, if the United States goes down, this is what the commies have known forever, then the whole world becomes a floating slave ship orbiting the ball of fire in the sky. Because if the United States can be taken down, there's no more capitalism, there's no more liberty, there's no more Bill of Rights, and the left is here to take it down. They're doing it methodically, systematically, over time, like the Chinese have a 100-year plan. The Democrat Party now has a plan to take down the United States of America because they are the left. You know that the all-new third-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier is finally here, and the third generation builds on the previous generations, and the previous generations got thousands of 5-star reviews on Al Gore's amazing internet, immediately became a bestseller. The new third-generation Thunderstorm uses 2 technologies that studies have demonstrated help to kill up to 99.9% of bacteria and viruses floating in the air in your home, in your office. Also removes dust and pet dander and smoke from the air that you breathe. And it helps get rid of any smell, any odor that you don't want to have around. With no filters to have to buy and replace again and again, a self-contained unit, you can hold one in your hand. They're only this big. The Thunderstorm will help get rid of any stinky smell, guaranteed. Trash cans, cigarette smoke, musty basements, left-wing protesters. No match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Right now, because you hang out with me, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. Put one in your basement, your teenager's room, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com on Al Gore's amazing internet. Use the discount code CHRIS3, CHRIS, and the number 3 to save $200 on 3 thunderstorms. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. Eminence Front. Yeah, G. Van Fleet is great. She lives in the greater metropolitan area around here. She knows whereof she speaks. Whereas this Democrat in New York, well, that's another thing altogether.
I'm just so proud to be a Virginian and to be American.
In the United Kingdom, they have a music festival there. Glastonbury Music Festival, a huge music festival. And they invited one of their favorite bands. They call themselves Bob Villain. It's like Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's real name is Robert Zimmerman. He's Jewish. And these guys are frothy anti-Semites. They say that they're punk rockers, but punk rockers were generally funnier and more clever than Bob Villain. Bob Villain screaming at the England's Glastonbury Music Festival, and they don't like the Jews.
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Alright, but have you heard this one, though? Death, death to the IDF! 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 Death, death to the IDF!
Sure.
Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free.
Yeah, they're pro-terrorist. Now, he's just another European lefty, UK lefty, a moron, and if he were here, he'd be a typical Democrat. They were coming to the United States to go on tour. They were going to be in Philadelphia, then come to Washington, D.C., but it turns out that the Trump State Department, the Trump administration, has said, when this video surfaced yesterday, they said, well, wait a minute, these people have visas to come to the United States of America? Oh, yes, sir, they have visas to come because they're going on tour. Now, death to the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. It is mandatory to serve in the IDF if you're an Israeli, men and women. So you're calling for every Jew to be killed. So he's calling for a Nazi-style genocide, and the crowd is cheering because they're lefties.